Assalamu alaikum students. We will start today a new chapter, Mathematics of Finance. Right. So here we need to learn some few terms. Present value of amount invested. So that means if you invest some money in any bank account, the amount that you are investing today, that amount will be called present value of amount invested, or present value of amount borrowed. If you borrow some money today, if you borrow or loan some money from bank or any other organization today, that loan amount or the borrowing amount that you are borrowing today, that present value of amount borrowed will be denoted as P. P means present value. So present value of amount invested or present value of amount borrowed will be denoted as P. Present value is also called principal. We denote it is by P. Rate of interest in mathematics of finance we denote it by R. So rate of interest will be denoted by R. Period of investment or loan is equal to T. That means, for example, if you invest for 5 years, then T will be 5 years. If you invest for 10 years, then T will be 10 years. If you borrow loan for 5 years, if you borrow loan and you have to pay the loan within 5 years, then T will be 5 years. So T is the period of investment or period of loan. Future value after period T. So that means future value. For example, if you invest 1 lakh taka today in a bank account and you want to see what will be the amount after 5 years. So that means here T is 5 years. So if you want to see what will be the amount after 5 years, so that means this is the future value. So you want to find out the future value after 5 years. So future value will be denoted as F. Right. So first of all, we learn what is simple interest. Simple interest, in simple interest will be paid or charged only on the initial amount invested or borrowed. That means interest will be paid or charged only on the amount of money you invested or you borrowed. That means it will not be charged. That means, for example, if you invest 1 lakh taka today, that means you will only receive, in simple interest method, you will only receive interest on the initial amount, on the initial principal or the initial amount borrowed. Example. So let's see one example. Compute interest amount and the future value of 2 lakh taka, 200,000 taka or 2 lakh taka invested at 10% simple interest for 3 years. So compute interest amount and the future value of 200,000 taka invested at 10% simple interest for 3 years. So here T is 3 years. Rate of interest R is 10%. And the present value you are investing, you have invested 2 lakh taka or 200,000 taka today. So this is the present value of investment. So principal or present value of investment, principal or present value of investment P is equal to 2 lakh taka. Rate of interest R is 10%. Now if you invest for 1 year, so 1 year interest is equal to, you have invested 2 lakh taka multiplied by 10%. So P into R. So 2 lakh taka multiplied by 10%. That means at the end of first year, you will get 20,000 taka interest. So at the 10% interest, 2 lakh taka multiplied by 10%. That means at the end of 1 year, you will get 20,000 taka interest. So similarly, after 3 years, in 3 years, the total interest you will be received is equal to 20,000 multiplied by 3. So that means PR, that means 20,000 multiplied by 10% multiplied by T. T means 3 years. So 20,000 multiplied by 3, which is 60,000 taka. So that means you have to find out the interest amount in simple interest method, you have to use this formula PRT. P is principal or the present value, R is rate of interest, and T is the period of investment or period of loan. So future value will be what? This is the initial amount invested or initial amount borrowed, that is P. plus interest plus the accumulated interest over the 3 years. So PRT, that means 2 lakh taka is the initial amount invested, and over the 3 years you have earned total 60,000 taka interest. So the future value will be 2 lakh taka plus 60,000, which is 260,000 taka. So this is the future value after 3 years. That means after 3 years of investment, you will receive total 2 lakh taka principal, the initial amount invested, and 60,000 taka interest. So in total 260,000 taka you will receive after 3 years. Right. Let's move to next page then. So simple interest, the formula for simple interest. So future value formula for simple interest method is F is equal to, F means future value, is equal to P plus PRT. P is the initial amount invested and PRT is the interest, accumulated interest. So if you take P common, that is P into 1 plus RT. So this is the simple interest formula. Now let us move to compound interest. In compound interest method, interest will be paid or charged not only on the principal amount but also on the accumulated interest. So in compound interest method, interest will be paid or charged not only on the initial amount, not only on the principal amount or present value, but also on the accumulated interest. So if we give an example, it will be clear for you. Suppose $5,000 is invested. $5,000 is invested. That means if you invest $5,000 today, that means this is the present value, at 10% interest. At 10% interest compounded each year. That means whenever you see the word compounded, that means you have to use compound interest formula. Right. So $5,000 you are investing today. That means this is the initial value or principal or present value. This is the rate of interest. But here the interest is compounded each year. The amount at the end of first year would be. So if this is the interest rate and this is the principal amount, then at the end of first year, you will get, so F1 means this is the future value after 1 year. So F1 means future value after 1 year will be 5,000 is the initial amount invested plus PRT. This is the interest amount. 5,000 multiplied by 10%. So 5,000 multiplied by 10%, and since you are getting the future value after 1 year, that means you have invested only 1 year. So multiplied by T is equal to 1. So multiplied by 1. So that means 5,000 is the initial amount invested and 500 is the interest amount. So in total, after 1 year, you will get 5,500 taka dollar. So in total, after 1 year, the value is 5,500. Right. So this 5,500 becomes the principal at the beginning of second year. So for the first year, formula is like simple interest formula. But for the second year, the formula is no longer like the simple interest method. Because for the second year, these 5,500 will be considered as principal. So that means for the second year, these 5,500 will be considered as principal. That means 5,000 is no longer a principal. 5,500 will be considered as principal. So this 5,500 becomes the principal at the beginning of second year, and the amount at the end of second year will be, so F2 means future value at the end of second year. So this is the principal amount now, and so interest will be this one multiplied by 10%, and since you are calculating interest for the second year only, so that means only 1 year, that means multiplied by 1. So that means for the second year, this is the principal amount 5,500, and in the second year the interest you are earning is 550. So the total amount you will receive after second year is 6050. That means 6,050. So if you pay attention, you will see that this 550, the interest is charged not only on the initial amount 5,000. This 550 interest is, we get this interest based on not 5,000, the initial amount. We get this 550 interest based on the accumulated amount. That means accumulated amount means 5,000 plus the interest from achieved from the first year. So that means this is the principal. That means in compound interest method, we charge interest not only on the principal but also on the accumulated interest. That means we charge for the second year. This will be for the second year, interest will be charged not only on the 5,000 but also on the interest received from first year. So that means interest will be charged not only on 5,000 but also on 500. That means 5,500. So interest will be charged in total on 5,500. So similarly, in the third year, this one will be considered as principal for the third year, and interest will be charged not on 5,500 or 5,000. Interest will be charged on 6,550. So that means in compound interest method, interest is charged not only on the principal but also on the accumulated interest. Right. So this is called compound interest method. Now if you let's see how we get compound interest formula. So page 3, derivation of compound interest formula. Future value at the end of first year. Right. So F1, future value at the end of first year, the formula is P into P RT. That is, if you take P common, 1 plus RT. So that means here, this is future value at the end of first year. That means only 1 year. So T will be 1. So that means P into 1 plus R. Future value at the end of second year or 2 years. So now this one becomes the principal. So this one becomes the principal. P into 1 plus R becomes the principal for the second year. So this is the P into 1 plus R is the principal amount. So this is the principal amount, and multiplied by 1 plus RT. So multiplied by, so instead of P, we will have the principal amount P into 1 plus R for the second year, multiplied by 1 plus RT. Right. So P into 1 plus R. Now 1 plus RT, again you are calculating for the second year. That means here also only 1 year. So that means multiplied by 1. So 1 plus R. So 1 plus R multiplied by 1 plus R is 1 plus R square. So as you can see, future value at the end of second year is equal to P into 1 plus R square. So that means 2, here also 2. So similarly, this one will be the principal amount for the third year. So this is the principal amount for the third year, multiplied by 1 plus RT. So 1 plus R multiplied by 1. Since you are calculating for the third year, that means for 1 year, that is 1. So 1 plus R. So 1 plus R square multiplied by 1 plus R, that is 1 plus R cube. So as you can see again, this is the future value at the end of third year. So here also 3, here also power 3. So similarly, future value at the end of T years. So future value at the end of T years. Value of T can be anything, right? So future value at the end of T years is equal to Ft is equal to P into 1 plus R power T. So here 3, here 3, here T, here also power T. So Ft is equal to P into 1 plus R power T. Right. Now let's see this example. If $500 is invested at 6% compounded annually, what will be the future value after 30 years? Right. So as you can see, the word compounded is there. So that means we have to use the compound interest formula. Right. So here R, or the rate of interest, is 6% and T is 30 years. And this is the amount you are investing today. If $500 is invested, that means you are investing $500 today. So that means this is the present value. So principal or present value P is equal to $500. Interest rate 6 is equal to 6%, that is 0.06. Always remember, whenever you solve any problem in finance, you have to be very careful that all the rates will be converted to decimal points. That means you have to, when you do finance calculation, you have to use the decimal point. You have to convert percentage into decimal points, right? So all the rates need to be converted to decimal points, and always remember the rates will be in year. So that means if interest rate will always be indicated in the question in year. So period of investment is T is equal to 30 years, right? Future value F is equal to, we know the formula is future value F is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. So future value F is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. So here present value is equal to, as I said, $500, 1 plus R is 0.06, power T is 30 years. So 30 is 30. So if you calculate, the answer is $2,871.74. Right, very simple problem. Now let's move to next page, page 4. Example, find the future value of $500 at 8% compounded quarterly for 10 years. So in the previous problem, it was compounded annually. You can see in the previous problem, the rate was 6% compounded annually. But here it is 8% compounded not annually, it's compounded quarterly. So from the name compounded, we can understand that this is a compound interest method. So we will use compound interest formula. But here, instead of annually, we have quarterly. So that means at the end of every quarter, interest will be calculated. That means not after. That means this interest will not be calculated on a yearly basis. Interest will be calculated on a quarterly basis, right? So first thing first, here the amount of investment is $500. Find the future value of $500. So the question is asking you to find out the future value of $500. So that means 500 is the present value. You have to find out the future value. So present value is 500. Interest rate is 8%. So compounded quarterly means interest will be charged 4 times in a year. So in a year we have 4 quarters. So in a year we have 4 quarters. In a year we have 4 quarters. So that means compounded quarterly means interest will be charged 4 times in a year. That means in a year we have 4 quarters. Quarter means 1/4 of a year. Quarter means 1/4 of a year. So that means there are 4 quarters in a year. So at the end of every quarter, that means 1/4 year. That means at the end of every quarter, that means 1/4 year, that is 3 months. In a year we have 12 months. So 1/4, that means 12/4, that means 3 months. So 1 quarter equivalent to 3 months. And we have total 4 quarters in a year. So at the end of every 3 months, interest will be calculated. So at the end of every 3 months or every quarter, interest will be calculated. So in a year, so always remember in the question, the rate of interest will be given in a year basis. So that means this 8% interest is per year. So 8% interest is the per year interest. But since the interest will be charged quarterly, that means at the end of every quarter interest will be charged. So we need to convert the interest rate to quarterly basis. So that means, as I said before, interest in a year we have 4 quarters. So in a year we have 4 quarters, and 1 year interest rate is 8%. So 8% is the 1 year interest rate, and we have 4 quarters in a year. So if you divide it by 4, that means 2% will be charged at the end of every quarter. So that means 2% will be charged or paid at the end of every quarter. So that means 2% is the quarterly interest rate. So 2% is 8% is the yearly interest rate, and if you divide it by 4, because we have 4 quarters in a year, so 2% is the quarterly interest rate. That means 2% is the 3 months interest rate. Right. So period of investment. Period of investment is 10 years. So period of investment is 10 years. But as I said before, in a year we have 4 quarters. In a year we have 4 quarters. So period of investment will no longer be in years. So we need to convert it to quarters, because the interest will be charged on a quarterly basis. So interest will be calculated 4 times in a year. There are 4 quarters in a year, so interest will be charged 4 times in a year. That means 4 times in a year, that means 10 years means total 40 quarters, or interest will be charged total 40 times, right? So there are 40 quarters means there are interest will be charged total 40 times, right? So T is equal to 40. Future value is equal to, we know the formula, P into 1 plus R to the power T. Present value is 500 plus into 1 plus R is 2%, quarterly interest rate 2%, 0.02, power T is 40. So if you calculate, the answer is $1104.02. Now let us move to next example. If $800 is invested at 6% compounded semi-annually. So here in the previous problem we had compounded quarterly, that means 4 times in a year, that means 4 quarters in a year. But in this problem we have, if $800 is invested at 6% compounded semi-annually. Semi-annually means every 6 months. That means twice in a year. That means 2 times in a year. That means in a year we have 2 periods. That means 2 semi-annual periods in a year. That means every 6 months means after 6 months interest will be calculated, and again after 6 months interest will be calculated. That means in a year 2 times interest will be calculated. That means there are 2 semi-annual periods in a year. What will be the amount in 5 years? Right. So that means if $800 is invested, that means $800, if you invest $800 today, that means this is the present value, this is the interest rate, and this is the period. So that means semi-annual means 6 months. Thus we have 2 semi-annual periods in a year. So this is the present value is $800. Interest rate is, as I said before, rate will be given in a yearly basis. So 6% is a yearly interest rate, but will be, since the interest will be charged semi-annually, that means after every 6 months, that means we have 2 semi-annual periods in a year. That means 6% is the yearly interest rate. So that means you will divide it by 2. That means 3% is the semi-annual interest rate. That means 3% will be charged after every 6 months. So after 12 months 6% will be charged. That means after 6 months 3% interest will be charged. That means semi-annual interest is 3%, right? So interest will be, since the interest will be charged twice in a year, that means 2 semi-annual periods are there in a year. That means we will divide the yearly interest rate, that is 6%, we will divide it by 2. That means 3% is the semi-annual interest rate in decimal, which is 0.03. T is equal to 5 years. As I said before, in a year, in 2 times interest will be charged. That means in a year 2 times interest will be calculated. So 5 years we will have total 10 semi-annual periods, right? So formula is, you know that future value is equal to present value into 1 plus R to the power T. So this is the present value, this is the interest rate, and T is equal to 10. So if you calculate, you will see that answer is $1,075.13, right? So $1,075.13. Let's move to next page. Page 5. Example. Compute the future value of 5 lakh taka or 500,000 taka at 6% compounded monthly. So here again you see compounded monthly is there. Compounded means compound interest formula will be used, but interest will be charged on a monthly basis after 10 years, right? So here compounded monthly means interest will be charged on a monthly basis. Thus in a year we have total 12 interest cycle or 12 compounding periods. So that means interest will be charged monthly means we have 12 months in a year. So that means interest will be charged 12 times in a year. So interest will be charged total 12 times in a year, right? So present value is equal to, as you see, compute the future value. That means question is asking you directly to calculate future value of 5 lakh taka. So this is the present value, right? So present value is 5 lakh taka, 500,000 taka. Interest rate is 6% is a yearly interest rate, but will be charged on a monthly basis. So that means in a year we have total 12 months. So this is the monthly interest rate, which is 0.5%. So if you divide it by 100, you will get the decimal point. So that means 0.005. T is the compounding periods. So we have total 10 years, but as I said before, in a year total 12 times. In a year we have total 12 months. That means total 12 times interest will be charged. So that means 10 into multiplied by 12, that means total 120 months or 120 interest compounding periods, right? So formula is future value is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. This is the present value, this is the interest rate 0.05, and power T is equal to 100. So 120. So if you calculate it, you will see that the answer is 909,698. Future value is equal to, so the future value is equal to F is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. Present value is 5 lakh taka, 1 plus R is 0.05, power 120. So answer is 909,698.367 dollar, right? So let's move to next problem. A bank pays 7.25% compounded daily. So this is compounded daily. So this is compounded daily. So a bank pays 7.25% compounded daily on fixed deposit account, on a fixed deposit account. So this is compounded daily. So if 5 lakh taka is deposited in a fixed deposit account, what will be the amount after 5 years 45 days? Use 365 days per year. So normally bank may use 365 days a year. Sometimes bank use 260 days a year, I mean excluding all the holidays. Sometimes bank may offer to their young customers and student customers that they will charge only 260 days a year. That means excluding the holidays in a year. So in this problem we will consider that in a year we have 365 days, right? So present value, if 500 taka is deposited, that means if you deposit 5 lakh taka or 500,000 taka today, that means this is the present value. Interest rate is 7.25% compounded daily. So as I said before, this is the yearly rate. So 7.25% means 0.0 in decimal we have 0.0725. So but it will be charged on a daily basis. So we have total 365 days a year. This is the yearly rate, but since it will be charged on a daily basis, so we need to divide it by 365. So we will not calculate this one now. We will calculate it later directly, right? To get the more accurate result. Compounding periods, T is equal to, we have 5 years. So 5 years, but since as I said before, in a year we have 365 days. So 5 multiplied by 365 plus 45 days. So total 1870 days. So compounding period is total 1870 compounding periods. Right. So here, as I said before, present value is this one, 1 plus R is this one, 0.0725 divided by 365, 0.0725 divided by 365, power T is equal to 1870. So if you calculate it directly, you will see that answer is 724,882.31 taka. That means 7,24,882.31 taka. Right. So now we will move to page 6. Page 6. What is the present value of what is the present value. So here the question is asking not the future value. Question is asking present value. What is the present value of 909,698.367 taka payable 10 years from now? So that means this is the amount payable, that means you will receive after 10 years. So this is the amount payable after 10 years. So that means this is the future value you will receive after 10 years at 6% compounded monthly. So that means question is asking if you want to receive this amount payable 10 years from now, that means if you want to receive this amount 10 years from now, in that case what is the present value? What is the present value? That means question is asking the present value. P is equal to what? Here future value is this one. Compounding periods, T is equal to 10 years, but since as you said compounded monthly, that means interest will be calculated on a monthly basis. That means interest will be calculated 12 times in a year. That means in a year we have 12 months. So out of 10 years we have 10 multiplied by 12, total 120 months or 120 compounding periods. So interest rate as usual, as I said before, 6% is the yearly rate. So but since the interest will be calculated on a monthly basis, so we will divide it by 12, right? Because we have 12 months in a year. So in monthly interest rate is 0.5%. So if you convert it to decimal point, 0.005. That means if you divide it by 100, 0.005. So formula is, you know that future value is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. So if you bring these one on this side, so this will be in the denominator, F divided by 1 plus R to the power T is equal to P. So as you know that if you move these one, if you move whatever you have in the denominator, if you move this one into the upper part, that means if you move it outside the fraction, or if you move it to numerator part, the power will be negative. So that means power will be negative is equal to P. That means F into 1 plus R to the power minus T. So that means this is the present value formula. P is equal to F into 1 plus R to the power T. So if you see, when future value is on this side, present value will be on the other side. When future value will be on the left hand side, present value will be on the right hand side. Again, when present value will be on the left hand side, future value will be on the right hand side. Similarly, this part will be same. In future value calculation, power will be positive. Power will be positive. But in present value calculation, power is negative. Power is negative. So remember, in present value calculation, power is negative. So future value is this one. 1 plus R is this one, power minus T. T is equal to 120. So T is equal to 120. So if you calculate, you will see that 5 lakh taka. That means if you invest 5 lakh taka today, you will get 9,000, that means 9,09,698 taka after 10 years. Thus, if you invest 5 lakh taka today at 6% compounded monthly, then after 10 years, you will get 909,698.367 taka. Now we will move to page 7. How much must be deposited now? So the question is asking how much must be deposited now. That means how much you should deposit now. That means you need to find out the present value. That means how much must be deposited now. That means you need to find out the present value. That means present value of deposit. Right. In an account paying 7.3% compounded daily. That means again compounded term is there. So this is the compound interest formula. In order to have just enough in the account 3 years from now to make $10,000 available for investment in a business enterprise. So that means question is asking how much you should deposit now. That means what should be the present value. That means how much should you deposit today at this interest rate in order to have just enough in the account 3 years from now. So that means how much should you deposit today so that you receive you receive this $10,000 to make $10,000 available after 3 years. That means how much should you deposit today so that you get this $10,000 available in your hand after 3 years. After 3 years. So that means this is the amount you want to get in your hand, or this is the amount you want to have available after 3 years. So this is the future value after 3 years. So now, so future value after 3 years is $10,000. F is $10,000. Interest rate is 7.3%, but compounded daily. So that means in a year, since the question didn't give any information about how many days we should use in a year. So in such circumstances, you should always consider 365 days a year. So that means 7.3% divided by 365. So in decimal, we have 0.073. 7.3% means 0.073. If you divide 7.3 by 100, you will get 0.073 and divided by 365. So this is the yearly rate, 0.073, and since the interest will be calculated on a daily basis, so we have total 365 days in a year. So that means we will divide it by 365. T, compounding periods. We have 3 years. So 3 multiplied by, in a year we have total 365 days or 365 compounding periods. So total 1095 compounding periods. Right. So as you know, question is asking how much must be deposited now. That means how much you should deposit today or now. That means the present value. That means what should be the present value. So present value, you know that if the present value, if you want to find out the present value, it will be on the left hand side, and future value will be on the right hand side into 1 plus r. Always in the present value formula, power will be negative. So this is the present value, 10,000 into 1 plus r. R is 0.073 divided by 365. Power minus t is equal to 1095. So if you calculate it, the answer is $8,033.39. Thus, if you deposit $8,033.39 today, so if you deposit this amount today, you will get $10,000 after 3 years from the account, paying at a % compounded daily. Right? Now we will move to page 8. How much must be deposited now in an account paying 8% compounded monthly? That means how much, question is asking how much must be deposited now. That means the present value. What should be the deposit? Today is now, how much should you deposit now? That means how much should you deposit today or now? That means the present value. That means in an account paying 8% compounded monthly, in order to have just enough in the account 5 years from now to make a 2,500,000 taka, that means 25 lakh taka down payment on an apartment in Bonani. That means if you want to purchase an apartment in Bonani, and for that you need to make 25 lakh taka or 2,500,000 taka down payment after 5 years. That means you want to have this much amount of money after 5 years. So the question is asking, so this is the future value. So this is the future value you want to have to make a down payment on Bonani, to make a down payment on an apartment in Bonani. So you want to have this much amount of money after 5 years. So this is the future value. Question is asking how much must be deposited now so that you can get this money after 5 years. So question is asking how much must be deposited now, which means question is asking the present value. Right. So question is asking the present value, future value is this one. Right. Interest rate is 8% compounded monthly. So that means we have 12 months in a year. So 8% divided by 12. So that means 0.08 divided by 12. T is equal to 5 years. T is equal to 5 years. As you know that we have 12 months in a year. So total 60 compounding periods. So P is equal to F into 1 plus R to the power minus T. So this is the future value. This is the interest rate minus power minus 60 is equal to, this is the, that means if you invest 16 lakh taka, 16 lakh 78,000 taka today, you will get 25 lakh taka after 5 years. Right. So next move to next question. At what interest rate, compounded monthly, will a sum of money double in 10 years? So that means the question is asking at what interest rate. So that means interest rate is not given. Question is asking at what interest rate. That means you have to find out the interest rate. That means you have to find out the value of R. So at what interest rate, compounded monthly, will a sum of money, that means any sum of money, double in 10 years. That means question is asking at what interest rate will a sum of money, that means any sum of money, double in 10 years. That means if you invest 1 taka, it will get 2, you will get 2 taka after 10 years. Double means, that means if you invest 1 taka today, you should get 2 taka after 10 years. If you invest 100 taka today, you should get 200 taka after 10 years. If you invest 1000 taka today, you should get 2000 taka after 10 years. So you should get double. So question is asking what should be the interest rate in such case. So we don't know interest rate. So let's assume interest rate is X% compounded monthly. So let's assume interest rate is X% compounded monthly. Interest rate is X% compounded monthly. So X%, this is the yearly rate, but will be charged on a monthly basis. So we need to divide it by 12. Present value, let's assume present value is 1 taka. So if the present value is 1 taka, you should get double that after 10 years. So future value will be 2 taka after 10 years. That means double. T is equal to 10 years. So you know that compounded monthly, that means 12 months in a year. So out of 10 years, we have total 120 compounding months, compounding period. So here, formula is future value is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power T. So future value is 2, present value is 1, 1 plus R is X by 12, power 120, right? So now, that means 1 plus X by 12 power 120 is equal to 2. So 1 plus X by 12. Now we will move this power to right hand side. So as you know that power moves as power from one side to other, but we will get the reverse one. That means it will get, power will be inversed. That means here we have 120. If you move it, if you move the power on the right hand side, we will get 1 by 20. That means power is 1 by 20. So if you move 1 on that side, so it will be deducted from that. So then 2 to the power 1 by 20 minus 1. So if you calculate these one, this is the answer. So 0, 0. Take as much decimal point as possible. Take as much decimal point as possible to get more accurate result. So now, if you do cross multiplication, so 12 multiplied by this one is equal to, X is equal to 0.06951. So this is in the decimal point. But as you know that X is the interest rate. X is the interest rate. So we need to convert it to percentage. So 6.951%. That means if you multiply it by 100, 6.951%. So that means interest rate is 6.95%. That means at 6.951% compounded monthly, a sum of money double in 10 years. Move to next example. At 8% compounded quarterly, how many years will it take for a sum of money to multiply into 3 times than what it is now? So that means question is asking, here the interest rate is given, but how many years will it take? That means how much time it will take, that information is not given. That means how many years. So that means the value of T is not given. That means how many years, that means value of T is not given. That means how many years will it take for a sum of money to multiply into 3 times. Multiply into 3 times means for a sum of money, that means any sum of money. That means if you invest 1 taka today, you should get 3 times. That means you should get 3 taka in future. That means if you invest 1 taka today, you should get multiply into 3 times. That means you should get 3 taka in future. If you invest 100 taka today, you should get 300 taka. If you invest 1000 taka, you should get 3 times. That means 3000 taka. Right. So first thing first, here interest rate is 8% compounded quarterly. Quarterly means you know that we have 4 quarters in a year, right? So that means interest will be charged 4 times in a year. So that means this is the yearly rate, so we will divide it by 4. This is the 2% is the quarterly interest rate. So that means 0.02. So as I said before, so let's assume that present value is 1 taka. That means you are investing 1 taka today. So future value will be 3 times higher. That means future value will be 3 taka. T, we don't know the value of T. So let's assume that the value of T is X year. So we are assuming that value of T is X years. So as I said before, interest will be charged on a quarterly basis. That means in 1 year, 4 times interest will be charged. That means in 1 year, 4 compounding periods are there. So in 1 year, we have 4 compounding periods. So in X year, we have X multiplied by 4, that is 4X compounding periods. Right. So as usual, formula is future value is equal to present value into 1 plus r to the power t. So future value is 3 taka. Present value is 1 taka plus 1 plus into 1 plus r is 0.02. Power t is equal to 4x. Right. So as you know that if you don't know the value of power, you have to take log on both sides. That means if you can take ln, that means natural log, or if you can take direct log, that means 10 base log in both sides. So we take natural log, that means ln 3 here. So here also ln on this side. So 1 multiplied by this one, you don't have to consider 1. So ln 1 plus 0.02 is equal to 1.02 power 4x. Right. ln 3. As you know that if we have any power in front of ln log, so that power will come first. That means power will come out from the power. Right. That means 4x ln 1.02. So right. So now we will take all the log on the same side. So here we will take this log 1.02 ln 1.02 on the left hand side. So this one was in multiplication condition. If you bring this one on the left hand side, it will be in the denominator. So right. So ln 3 divided by ln 1.02. So if you calculate, the answer is 55.4781 is equal to 4x. So again, so if you bring this 4 on this side, so divided by 4, that means x is equal to this one divided by 4, that is 13.869 years. As you know that x is years. So x is 13.869 years. Right. So let's move to page 10. Find the future value of 1 million taka, that is 10 lakh taka at 8% compounded continuously after 5 years 3 months. So whenever you see compounded continuously there, the formula will be altogether different. So we will have to use a different formula. Whenever you see continuously there, whenever you see the word continuously there, the formula is different. So formula is future value is equal to PE to the power RT. So compounded continuously. When you see compounded continuously, the formula is future value is equal to PE to the power RT. Right. So here question is asking find the future value. So we don't know the future value. You have to find out the future value of 1 million taka. So that means this is the present value. That means present value is 1 million taka. Always remember, when the question is asking compounded continuously, that means formula is future value is equal to PE to the power RT. And when you use this formula, in that case, the value of R will be in the yearly rate. That means you don't have to divide by anything. That means 8% is the yearly rate. It will remain as it is in a yearly rate. That means you don't have to divide. If it was compounded monthly, if you would have divided by 12. But when it is compounded continuously, the formula is different. So in that case, you don't have to do anything. So 8%, that means 0.08. Period T. T is equal to 5 years 3 months. So if it was compounded monthly, then we would have to divide, you would have to convert years into months. That means if it was compounded monthly, then we would have to convert all the years into months. But this is compounded continuously. That means formula is different altogether. So when you use this compounded continuously formula, in that case T will be in years. That means T will be in years. So 5 years is already in years, but 3 months, you need to convert these 3 months into years. So we know that we have 12 months in a year. So if you convert 3 months to a year, that means 3 divided by 12 years. So 3 divided by 12 means 0.25 year. That means 5 plus 0.25 year, which means 5.25 years. Right. So value of T should be in year when you use this formula. So present value is this one, e to the power r. The value of r is 0.08 multiplied by 5.25. Right. So how you calculate this one in the calculator? First press this one, then press multiplication sign, and then press, to get e you have to press shift and then ln. So to get e you have to press shift and then ln. So when you press shift and ln, you will get e in the calculator, and then this is the power. Always remember, whenever you get e, you don't have to press power button. So whenever you get e, you don't have to press power button. But if you press power button mistakenly, the answer will show error. That means it will show error. That means after you get e, you just press a bracket. You press a bracket and then 0.08 multiplied by 5.25 and close the bracket and press equal. You should get this answer. Right. Right. So now let us move to next example. How much must be deposited now? That means how much you should deposit now, that means the present value, in an account earning 7.5% compounded continuously. So as you can see, the compounded continuously is there. That means the formula is different. If the amount in the account 8 years 9 months from now is to be 5 million taka, that means you want to get this much amount of taka after 8 years 9 months. So that means this is the future value, right? So question is asking how much must be deposited now. That means present value is what? Future value is this one. Interest rate, as I said before, compounded continuously. That means formula is future value is equal to P e to the power RT. Right. So that means whenever you use continuously, that means the formula of E, in that case interest rate need not to be converted. That means 7.5% is yearly rate. It will remain as yearly rate. This 7.5%. That means in decimal we have 0.075. T is equal to 8 years 9 months. T is equal to 8 years 9 months. As I said before, when you use continuously formula, compounded continuously, in that case T will be in years, cannot be in months. So 8 years plus 9 months, that means in a year we have 12 months. So if you divide it by 12, it will be converted in year. So that means 9 divided by 12 is 0.75. That means 8 plus 0.75, that means 8.75 year. So future value is equal to present value into e to the power RT. But the question is asking to find out the present value. So that means present value will be on this side. E to the power RT we need to bring it on the left hand side. So it will be in the denominator. So as you know that if you bring this one on the top, that means power will become negative, so e to the power minus RT. So the present value, formula for present value, you know that already. Whenever the present value is on this side, future value will be on the right hand side, and power will be negative always. In the present value formula, power value is negative always. So this is the future value into e to the power minus, this is the R, this is the T. So you will press exactly like this way. So first press this one, multiplied, then you press shift ln to get E, and then you don't press the power button, because when you get E you don't have to press the power button, you just press minus and then bracket this one gun this one, bracket close. So you should get this one as the answer, right? So now we will move to page 11, right? Perpetuity. So let's see what is perpetuity. Perpetuity is a constant stream of cash flow for an infinite period of time. That means you will receive same amount of cash flow. That means constant means you will receive same amount of cash flows at the end of every period over an infinite period of time. That means there is no end of receiving the cash flow. That means you will receive cash flows, say you will receive same amount of cash flow at the end of each period over an infinite period of time, right? Let's see some example, then it will be clear. If an account provides 200 taka at the end of every year for an infinite period, that means if an account says that it will give you 200 taka at the end of every year for an infinite period, that means you will get your son will get, your grandkids will get, your kids will get. That means your all generation up to judgment day. That means Qiyamot Purjonto. That means you all your future generation up to judgment day will receive 200 taka at the end of every year for an infinite period. That means until judgment day. That means if an account provides 200 taka at the end of every year for an infinite period, so whenever you see the word infinite period or indefinite period, that means this is perpetuity, right? So suppose a perpetuity account provides C taka at the end of every year. So that means we are assuming that a perpetuity account provides C taka at the end of every year for an infinite period. So here C is 200 taka. That means instead of 200 taka, we are considering that suppose you in a perpetuity account will provide you C taka at the end of every year for an infinite period. What will be the present value of this perpetuity? So here periods 0, 1, 2, 3 and like that way up to infinite period. Cash flows, right? So these are the cash flows, same amount of cash flow. So at the end of first year you will get C cash flow. At the end of second year you will get again C amount of cash flow. At the end of third year again you will get C amount of cash flow, and like that way till infinite period. So if you calculate present value of all in this cash flow, so this is the cash flow you will get after 1 year. So that means present value means today's value. This is the value you will get after 1 year. So what is the present value of this cash flow? That means what is the today's value of this cash flow? So C into 1 plus R to the power minus 1, because this is the cash flow you will get after 1 year. So power minus 1. So this is the present value of this cash flow. Again, what is the present value of this cash flow? C into 1 plus R power minus 2, because you will get this cash flow after second year, that means minus 2. You will get this cash flow after 3 years, so this is power minus 3. Like that way till infinite period, right? So again this one can be written as C divided by power minus 1. So if you remove the power minus from power, so it will go in the denominator. So C divided by 1 plus R power 1. Minus sign is removed. Again, if you remove this minus sign from the power, it will be in the denominator. 1 plus R square minus power minus sign from the power is removed, only 2 is there. Again only 3 is there, minus sign is removed. So that means what should be the present value of all these cash flows altogether? So present values of all these, if you add present values of all these cash flows, you will get the present value of perpetuity. So present value of perpetuity is equal to this one plus this one plus this one, and like that way up to infinite period. That means if you find out the present value of all these individual cash flows, that means if you find out the present value of this one, present value of this one, present value of this one, and like that way till infinite period, and if you add them all, you will get the present value of perpetuity. So present value of perpetuity is this one plus this one plus this one, like that way up to infinite period. So fortunately you don't have to use this big formula to calculate the present value of perpetuity. So let's see, we can convert this formula, how we can convert this formula. So if you multiply both sides by 1 plus r, so p into 1 plus r, again if you multiply both sides by 1 plus r, so that means if you multiply all the elements by 1 plus r, in that case this one multiplied by 1 plus r, this one c divided by 1 plus r square multiplied by 1 plus r, again this one multiplied by 1 plus r, like that way till infinite period. So multiplying both sides by 1 plus r. So in that case what we see, so here as you can see, this one 1 plus r in the denominator, and here 1 plus r. So this one cancels out. So this one and this one cancels out, only c is there. So that means only c will be there, only c will be there. Again here we have 1 plus r square, and here we have 1 plus r. So this one and this one, if you cancel out, only 1 plus r remains. That means c divided by 1 plus r remains. That means c divided by 1 plus r remains. Again here we have 1 plus r cube, here we have 1 plus r. So here we have only 1 plus r, here we have 1 plus r cube. So if you cancel here and this one and this one, if you cancel this one and this one, we have 1 plus r square in the denominator. So c divided by 1 plus r square. So c divided by 1 plus r square. So like that way up to infinite period. Right. So as you can see, this one plus up to infinite period is equal to p. As you can see here, p is equal to c divided by 1 plus r plus c divided by 1 plus r square up to, and like that way up to infinite period is equal to p. That means this one plus up to this infinite period, or up to here to infinite period. So from here to this portion is p, c divided by 1 plus r plus c divided by 1 plus r square. Next term will be c divided by 1 plus r cube. Next term will be c divided by 1 plus r to the power 4, and like that way up to infinite period. So from here to here, this part is equal to p, this part is equal to p, this part is equal to p. From here you can see, so from here to infinite period is equal to p. So from here to infinite period is equal to p, right? So p into 1 plus r is equal to c plus p. So if you bring p on the left hand side, so minus p is equal to c. So if you take p common, we have 1 plus r minus 1 is equal to c. So 1 minus 1 cancels out, we have only pr is equal to c. So p is equal to, r will be, if you bring r on the right hand side, so that means c divided by r. So p is the present value of perpetuity. You know that p is the present value of perpetuity. P is the present value of perpetuity. So p is equal to c divided by r. So you see this formula was too big to calculate, and we also don't know infinite period means up to what period. Infinite period may last till judgment day, so we don't know where it will end. So we don't know up to what period we need to calculate like this way. So this is too much difficult to use this formula. So instead of using this formula to calculate present value of perpetuity, we can use this simple formula. So present value of perpetuity is equal to C divided by R. So present value of perpetuity is P. Present value of perpetuity P is equal to C divided by R, where C is the constant amount of cash flows. That means C is the same cash flow that we will get from perpetuity. So in this example, 200 taka is the C. So that means C is the same amount of cash flow that you will receive from the perpetuity. So C is the same amount of cash flow that you will receive from the perpetuity. And R is the, you know that, R is the interest rate, or the other way of saying interest rate, or some people they call it discount rate. That means when you calculate present value, the interest rate can be called discount rate. Right. Let's do one example, then it will be clear for you. A company promises to pay 2 taka dividend per share at the end of every year for an infinite period. So whenever you see infinite period or indefinite period, it is perpetuity. So a company promises to pay 2 taka dividend per share at the end of every year. That means at the end of every year, the company will pay you 2 taka dividend, and they will pay you till infinite period. So what should be the C? So that means this is the same amount of cash flow you will receive over every year. So this is C. What should be the fair price of share if your required return from investment is 15%? So that means what should be the fair price of share? That means fair price of share. That means if you want to buy the share of this company, how much should you pay today? So if you want to buy share of this company, how much should you pay today? That means what should be the price? That means how much should you pay today? That means you have to find out the present value, right? That means you have to find out the present value of share. So present value of share will be present value of perpetuity, because you are getting same 2 taka dividend of every year over an infinite period. So this is perpetuity. So present value of share will be here present value of perpetuity. So C, same amount of cash flow or constant cash flow, C is equal to 2 taka, and required return. Always remember, interest, R is interest rate, R is discount rate, R is also called required return from investment. So R is also called required return from investment. So here required return R is equal to 15%. So that is 0.15. So share price is equal to present value of perpetuity, which is, we know that, C divided by R. So C is 2 taka, R is 0.15. So that means the share price of the company should be 13.333 taka today. That means this should be the fair price of each share of that company. Now let us move to page 13. Growing perpetuity. So whenever you see perpetuity, that means you will get cash flow till infinite period. But this one is not only perpetuity, this one is growing perpetuity. That means if a company offers C dividend at the end of 1 year, so that means if a company offers C amount of dividend at the end of first year and a constant growth in dividends thereafter, that means here cash flows will not be same over the entire period. So here cash flows will not be same over an infinite period. That means you will get cash flow over an infinite period. That's true. That means it is perpetuity. But here cash flows will not be same over an infinite period. That means cash flows will grow. That means at the end of first year cash flows will be C. But after first year there will be a constant growth in cash flow. That means from the second year you will start receiving growth in cash flows. So let's do an example. So in period 1 you are getting, at the end of 1 year you are getting C amount of cash flow. But at the end of second year you are getting a growth in cash flow. That means C into 1 plus G. At the end of third year you are getting again growth in cash flow. That means this one multiplied by 1 plus g, that means c into 1 plus g square, and like that way till infinite period. So similarly, if you calculate the present value of all these individual cash flow, so present value of this one is c divided by 1 plus r power 1, that means here we have 1. Again, this is the cash flow, c into 1 plus g is the cash flow. You are getting this cash flow at the end of year 2, so we need to, that means 1 plus r square, that means we need to, power is 2. This one, we are getting this c into 1 plus g square cash flow at the end of year 3, so power will be 1 plus r power 3. So like that way till infinite period. So present value of growing perpetuity is equal to this one plus this one plus this one until infinite period. So this one plus this one plus this one till infinite period. So let's see an example. A company is offering 2 taka dividend at the end of first year. That means you will get this dividend at the end of first year. So this is C. This is first cash flow at the end of first year. So this is the first cash flow. So that is this one is C. And a 10% growth in dividends thereafter. That means from the second year, dividend will no longer be 2 taka. Dividend will grow by 10%. And it will grow every year for an indefinite period. Indefinite period means infinite period. So this is growing perpetuity. That means here you will get cash flow for an infinite period or indefinite period. That means perpetuity, that's for sure. But cash flows will not be same. Cash flows will grow every year. So this is growing perpetuity. What should be the share price if required return is R? So cash flows. So period 0, you are in period 0 you are paying the price or the present value of the share, and at the end of year 1 you are getting 2 taka dividend. At the end of year 1 you are getting 2 taka dividend. At the end of year 2, dividend will no longer be 2 taka. Dividend will grow by 10%. That means in out of 2 taka, 10% grow means 20 paisa will grow. That means 2 taka plus 20 paisa. That means in altogether 2.20 taka. That means we will multiply it by 2 into 1 plus g. 2 into 1 plus g. That means 1 plus g is equal to 10% growth. That means 0.10. That means g is equal to 10% means 0.10. That means 1 plus 0.10. That means 1.10. That means 2 multiplied by 1.10. That means 2 taka 20 paisa. That means at the end of first year you are getting 2 taka dividend. At the end of second year you are getting 10% growth in dividend. That means 2 multiplied by 1.10. That is 2 taka and 20 paisa is the growth. Is the 20 paisa growth. Right. So at the end of third year again you will get this one plus the growth. So that means this one multiplied by 1.10, that means 2.42 taka. Like that way every year the dividend will grow. So if you calculate the present value of all of these, present value of all of these, present value of all of these, and add all them, you will get the present value of growing perpetuity. But fortunately we will use a small formula like the before. So present value of growing perpetuity is equal to P is equal to C divided by 1 plus R. This is the C into 1 plus G divided by 1 plus R square. Again C into 1 plus G square divided by 1 plus R cube. C into 1 plus G cube divided by 1 plus R to the power 4, and like that way till infinite period. See, if you multiply both sides by 1 plus R divided by 1 plus G, in that case this one multiplied by 1 plus R divided by 1 plus G, this one multiplied by 1 plus R divided by 1 plus G, this one multiplied by 1 plus R divided by 1 plus G, and like that way till infinite period. In that case you can see 1 plus R cancels out, only C divided by 1 plus G remains. C divided by 1 plus G remains. Again here 1 plus R square, 1 plus R, if you cancel out we have only 1 plus R remains in the denominator. So 1 plus R remains, and here 1 plus G cancels out. So here 1 plus G cancels out, and here 1 plus R square. If we cancel out we have only 1 plus R in the denominator and C in the numerator. So C divided by 1 plus R. Here 1 plus G square, if you cancel out only 1 plus g will remain in the numerator multiplied by c. So c into 1 plus g, and here 1 plus r and here 1 plus r cube. So if you cancel out, we have only 1 plus r square in the denominator. So we have only 1 plus r square in the denominator, and like that way till infinite period. So similarly you can see c divided by 1 plus r, c divided by 1 plus r, this one divided by 1 plus r square, this one divided by 1 plus r cube. That means from here to here can be from here to here we can call it as p. So you can see from this portion c divided by 1 plus r, from this portion to infinite period is equal to p. So that means this one is equal to p and c divided by 1 plus g. Right. So if you bring p in this side, so minus p, and if you take p common, then in that case minus 1, and 1 plus g is the LCM, that is Loshagu. If you deduct 1 plus r minus into 1 plus g, and if you cancel out, you will see that 1 minus 1 minus 1 cancels out. In the numerator we have r minus g divided by 1 plus g is equal to c divided by 1 plus g. So now if you see here p into r plus g, so see in the denominator on the left hand side also 1 plus g is there, in the denominator on the right hand side is also 1 plus g there. So in the denominator on this side is 1 plus g, in the denominator on the right hand side is also 1 plus g. So this one and this one cancels out. So in the denominator on the left hand side is 1 plus g, and the denominator on the right hand side is also 1 plus g. So that means same denominator on the left hand side and right hand side. So this one cancels out. So only p into r minus g is equal to c left. That means p into r minus g is equal to c left. So p is equal to r minus g will be moved to the right hand side. So p is equal to c divided by r minus g. So you know that p is the present value of the growing perpetuity here. So present value of growing perpetuity is equal to p. That means present value of growing perpetuity is p. So here present value of growing perpetuity p is equal to c divided by r minus g. So that means we don't have to present value of growing perpetuity, we don't have to use this big formula, and still we don't know, we have to go how further. That means we don't know infinite means up to what period. So we cannot use this formula to calculate present value of growing perpetuity. Fortunately we can use present value of growing perpetuity to we can find out present value of growing perpetuity using this formula, c divided by r minus g, where c is the first cash flow. That means c is the cash flow that you will receive at the end of first year. R is the required return from investment or discount rate, or some people they call it interest rate, minus g is the growth rate. And please remember, this formula will only work when value of r is above g. That means if the value of r is more than g, more than the growth rate, in that case only this formula will apply. Now let's solve one question. XYZ Corporation is offering a 3 taka dividend at the end of first year. So this is 3 taka dividend you will get at the end of first year. So this is C. So that means value of C is 3 taka. And a 5% growth in dividends thereafter for an indefinite period. So whenever you see infinite period or indefinite period, that means perpetuity, and growth rate is there, that means this is growing perpetuity. So growth rate is 5%. So G is 5%. What should be the fair price of share? So that means fair price of share means what should be the present value of share of your if your required return from investment is 20%. Required return means the value of R. That means here year end dividend, that is D1, is the first cash flow, that is C is equal to 3 taka, is 3 taka. Growth rate G is equal to 5%, which is 0.05. Required return R is 20%, which is 0.20. So we know that So present value of share means present value of growing perpetuity. So present value of share means present value of growing perpetuity. So share price means here, this is the growing perpetuity problem. So share price means present value of growing perpetuity. So you know that present value of growing perpetuity formula is P is equal to C divided by R minus G. So C is equal to 3 taka. So you don't have to use this formula. We can use C is equal to C divided by R minus G. So C is equal to 3 taka divided by R is 20%, 0.20, minus G is equal to 5%, 0.05, which is 20 taka. That means fair price of share of XYZ corporation should be 20 taka. Right. Let's move to page 16. Ordinary annuity. An ordinary annuity is a series of periodic payments usually made in equal amounts at the end of each payment interval. Right? So if we do one problem, it will be clear for you, right? So let's see. At the end of first year, you are getting C amount of cash flow. At the end of 2 years, you are getting C amount of cash flow. And like that way, you will get same amount of cash flow until period T. Right. So if you calculate present value of this one, C divided by 1 plus R power 1. This is period 2. So power is 2. Period 3 power 3. So like that way till infinity till period T. So C divided by 1 plus R to the power T. So fortunately, we don't have to use this big formula. We can use this formula. Present value of ordinary annuity is equal to C divided by R into 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. Future value of annuity will be C divided by R into 1 plus R to the power T minus 1. Right. So this is the formula. So if we solve one problem, it will be clear for you. If 500 taka is deposited in a DPS, that means DPS means deposit pension scheme. So if 500 taka is deposited in a DPS account at the end of every month for 10 years, that means if 500 taka is deposited in a DPS account at the end of every month, that means at the end of first month you are depositing first 500 taka, at the end of second month also 500 taka, at the end of third month also 500 taka, and like that way at the end of every month you are depositing 500 taka, and like that way you are depositing up to 10 years. That means in a year you are making 12 deposit. In a year we have 12 months, so that means in a year you are making 12 deposit. So in 10 years you are making total 120 deposits of 500 taka each. So then how much will be in the account after the last deposit is made? You know that the last deposit will be made after 10 years. So the question is asking how much will be in the account after the last deposit is made. That means how much will be in the account after 10 years. That means if you deposit 500 taka at the end of every month, and like that way up to 10 years, how much you will get from the account after the last deposit, that means after 10 years. If the account gives you 6% interest compounded monthly. So monthly payment C is equal to, here C is the same amount of cash flow that you are getting or paying. So C is the same amount of cash flow. So here same amount of cash flow is 500 taka. You are paying 500 taka at the end of every month. At the end of first month 500, at the end of second month also 500, at the end of third month also 500, at the end of fourth month 500, at the end of fifth month 500, at the end of sixth month 500 taka, and like that way up to 10 years. So this is the same amount of payment. So monthly payment C is equal to 500 taka. Interest rate is 6% but compounded monthly. So that means 6 divided by monthly, that means 6 divided by, in a year we have 12 months. So 6 divided by 12%, that is 0.06 divided by 12, that is 0.005. number of payments. So total 10 years. So period T is equal to 10 years and compounded monthly, and you are making the deposit on a monthly basis. So that means in a year you are making total 12 payment. So 10 multiplied by 12, so total 120 payments. Right. So question is asking how much you will get from the account after the last deposit is made. That means you are making the last deposit after 10 years. That means how much you will get after 10 years from the account. So future value is asking. So future value after 10 years is equal to future value formula is C divided by R into 1 plus R to the power T minus 1. So future value formula is this one. C is the same cash flow. So 500 taka divided by R is 0.005 into 1 plus 0.005 power. T is the number of payments, which is 120 minus 1. So if you calculate, you will see that at the end of 10 years you will have total 81,939.67 taka deposited in the account. Now let's move to page 17. Mr. Karim wants to purchase an air conditioner on a EMI, that means EMI means equal monthly installment plan. So Mr. Karim wants to purchase an air conditioner on a EMI plan. Cash price of the air conditioner at Singer Bangladesh showroom is 80,000 taka. That means if Mr. Karim buy at cash price, he can buy the air conditioner at 80,000 taka. Singer Bangladesh is offering a 2 years EMI plan at 12% interest compounded monthly. So that means if you buy the air conditioner with EMI plan, that in that case you have to pay 12% interest compounded monthly. Find out the monthly installment amount. That means you have to find, question is asking how much you should pay monthly if you go for installment. So instead of buying at cash price, if you buy it at installment, that how much you should pay monthly installment, right? That means remember, monthly installment will be same. That means you have to pay some amount at the end of every month, and that amount will be same over the entire 2 years period. So this is the monthly installment. That means monthly installment amount is the C. That means monthly installment will be same. Monthly installment will be same. At the end of first month, the amount you will pay, this will be same like at the amount you will pay at the end of second month. Again, at the end of third month also you will pay same installment. At the end of 4th month also you will pay same installment. So this is the same installment over the entire 2 years period. So same installment, that means same cash flow. So this is the C. And since you are making same amount of cash flow over 2 years, so this is annuity. So cash price or current price of AC is 80,000 taka. Let us assume that Mr. Karim is buying the AC by borrowing 80,000 taka from Singer. So let us assume that since Mr. Karim is not paying the full 80,000 taka to buy the AC, so let us assume that he is borrowing 80,000 taka from Singer to buy the AC, and he need to pay off the loan. That means he need to pay off the loan, 80,000 taka loan, by monthly installment over the next 2 years. So let us assume that Mr. Karim is buying the AC by borrowing 80,000 taka from Singer, and he will pay off the loan by monthly installment over the next 2 years. So present value of the loan P is equal to 80,000 taka. So that means present value of the loan is equal to, that means present value of the borrowing, that means present value of the amount borrowed is equal to 80,000 taka. Interest rate is 12% compounded monthly. So interest rate is 12% but compounded monthly, so we will divide it by 12, that is 1%, that is 0.01. Number of installment, number of payments or installment. So T is equal to 2 years but in a year you have to make 12 payments. That is 12 installments are there. Monthly installment, that means in a year we have 12 months, that means 12 installments. So in 2 years we have total 24 installment. Right. The question is asking what should be the monthly installment amount. That means what should be the EMI. That means how much you should pay at the end of every month, which is C is equal to what? This is the question is asking. So question is asking how much should you pay at the end of every month. That is C is what? So we know that. So here present value is given. So this is annuity because you are paying same amount of installment over every month and up to 2 years. So this is same amount of cash flow up to 2 years. So this is annuity. So here present value of annuity is given. This is the present value of the loan. So that means this is the present value of the annuity. So present value of annuity is given. So obviously we need to use present value of annuity formula. So present value of annuity is C divided by R into 1 minus 1 plus R power minus T. So if you do cross multiplication P into R, so PR is equal to C into this one. Again, so you need to calculate C here. So if you move this one on the left hand side, so this will be in the denominator. So C is equal to PR divided by 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. So this is the formula for C. So the formula for C is PR divided by 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. So here present value of the loan or present value of the annuity is equal to 80,000 taka. R is 0.01 divided by this one. T is 24 installment. T is the number of installment or number of payments, which is 24. So T is 24, so minus 24. So if you calculate, you see the answer is this one. So that means at the end of every month, you have to pay 3,765.87 taka to pay off the loan. That means if you pay, that means you have to pay 3,765 taka monthly to buy the AC. Right. So let's move to next question. Mr. Imtiaz Sarji. So he always call me as Sarji. So that's why I name him Sarji. I will remember him in my whole life by the name Sarji. Mr. Imtiaz wants to buy a Toyota Premio car on a EMI plan over the next 5 years. So that means Mr. Imtiaz wants to buy a Toyota Premio car on an EMI plan over the next 5 years. So that means he will pay, EMI means equal monthly installments. That means he wants to buy the Premio car and he will pay off the loan by monthly installment over the entire 5 years. Cash price of the car is 30 lakh taka, that means 3 million taka. XYZ Motors, this is a company, that means XYZ Motors is asking 75,000 taka per month. That is, this is the EMI over the next 5 years. So if he buys the, he can buy the car at cash price of 30 lakhs taka or 3 million taka, or else he can buy by paying monthly 75,000 taka over the next 5 years. That means if he pays 75,000 taka at the end of every month over the next 5 years, through these also he can buy the car. Mr. Imtiaz can borrow, alternatively, Mr. Imtiaz can borrow 30 lakh or 3 million taka from BRAC Bank and pay off the loan within 5 years at an EMI plan of 16% compounded monthly. That means Mr. Imtiaz can borrow 30 lakhs taka or 3 million taka from BRAC Bank and pay off the loan within 5 years. So this is also 5 year, and the XYZ Motors, they also offered 5 years. So he can borrow the money from BRAC Bank and pay 16% interest compounded monthly over the entire 5 years. So question is asking which EMI plan is better. XYZ Motors EMI plan is better or Bragg Bank's EMI plan is better. Which option, which EMI is better? So here XYZ, they are asking 75,000 EMI. That means they are asking 75,000 taka per month over the next 5 years to sell the car. So XYZ Motor is asking 75,000 taka per month for next 5 years. But Bragg Bank, how much they are asking is not given. So to compare which option is better, whether Bragg Bank EMI is better or XYZ Motors EMI is better, to compare this we also need to know how much we need to pay for Bragg Bank. That means what is the Bragg Bank's EMI? We need to find out that one. So let's do it. XYZ Motors EMI plan is total duration is 5 years. That means out of 5 years, in a year you need to make monthly. That means in a year you need to pay 12 installment. So 5 year means total 60 installment. That means 60 EMI of 75,000 taka monthly. That means you need to pay total 60 monthly installment of 75,000 taka each. This is XYZ Motors EMI plan. Now let us find out Bragg Bank's EMI plan. Total number of monthly payment, that is total number of installment as usual 5 years. Monthly installment, that is total 12 installments in a year. So total 60 installments. Present value of the loan is 30 lakh taka. That is present value of the loan is 30 lakh taka. Interest rate is Bragg Bank's interest rate. Bragg Bank's interest rate is 16% compounded monthly. So Bragg Bank's interest rate is 16% but compounded monthly. That means we will divide it by 12. So 0.16 divided by 12. Now the question is asking, we need to find out the EMI of Bragg Bank. That means monthly installment of Bragg Bank. That means monthly installment, that means C. Monthly payments or monthly installment or EMI, that means C is how much. So here present value is given. So we will use this formula. So C is equal to PR divided by 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. So present value is 30 lakh taka. R is 0.16 divided by 12 divided by 1 minus 1 plus R, this one power minus T is equal to 60. So if you calculate the numerator part, 40,000 is there. 1 minus this one is this one power minus 60. If you calculate, Bragg Bank's EMI is 72,960.037 taka over 5 years. So Bragg Bank's EMI is, if you borrow money from Bragg Bank, you have to pay 72,000 taka, 72,966 taka per month over the 5 years. So if you want to buy the car by borrowing 30 lakh taka from Bragg Bank, you need to pay 72,000 taka per month, 72,966 taka per month over the 5 years. But XYZ Motor, they asked 75,000 taka per month over the 5 years. So which one is better? Obviously 72,960 taka, 66 taka EMI is better. Since Sarji, that means Mr. Imtiaz, should borrow 30 lakh taka or 3 million taka from Bragg Bank and buy the car at cash price. Now let us move to page 20. Mr. Karim retired as a banker today at his 65 years age and received 1 crore taka. That means received total 10 million taka from his pension fund savings. That means Mr. Karim has retired today from he was a banker. So Mr. Karim retired as a banker today at his 65 years age and received total 1 crore, that means 10 million taka from his pension fund savings. He wants to invest some of this money in a monthly paying savings account. So he want to invest some of this 1 crore taka in a monthly paying savings account. That means he wants to invest some of this money in an account that will pay him monthly and donate rest of the money to a charity organization. That means he wants to invest some of the money in an account and donate the rest to a charity organization. How much should he invest today? That means question is asking how much should he invest today in that savings account. That means how much should he invest today in that savings account. That means present value. If he wants to receive 50,000 taka per month over the next 30 years. That means how much should he invest today in the bank, in the savings account. That means what should be the present value he should invest in the savings account so that he should get 50,000 taka per month. That means he should get 50,000 taka at the end of first month, 50,000 taka at the end of second month, 50,000 taka at the end of third month, 50,000 taka at the end of fourth month, and like that way up to 30 years. That means same amount of 50,000 taka over that every month. That means same 50,000 taka cash flow at the end of every month over the next 30 years. So this is annuity. Question is asking how much should he invest today? That means what should be the present value he should invest in the bank so that he should get this much cash flows over the 30 years. If the account provides 8% interest compounded monthly, right? This is the first question. The second question is asking how much he can donate to charity organization today, right? So Mr. Korim wants to receive 50,000 taka at the end of every month over the next 30 years. So monthly payment is C is 50,000 taka. Number of payments T is equal to 30 years, and in every year total 12 months are there. There is total 12 payments. So 30 years multiplied by 12, that means total 360 installment or 360 payments of 50,000 taka each. Interest rate is 8% compounded monthly. So 8% compounded monthly, that means we need to divide it by 12, which is 0.08 divided by 12. So how much should he invest today? That means what should be the present value of investment? That is P is what? So this is annuity, since the same amount of cash flow you will get every month for 30 years. That means same amount of cash flow, total 360 installment. So this is annuity. So present value of annuity or present value of investment is equal to C divided by R into 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. So C is equal to the same amount of cash flow, which is 50,000, divided by R is this one. If you put all the figure there, and if you calculate, see 0.08 divided by 12. So that means this fraction will be reversed. That means 50,000 multiplied by 12 will be on the upside. That means 12 divided by 0.08. And the remaining part is as it is. So if you calculate now, the answer is 68 lakh 14,000. That means 6,814,174 taka. That means if we invest this 68 lakh taka or 6,814,174 taka today, if he invests this much amount of taka today, he will receive 50,000 taka at the end of every month over 30 years. Right. So that means he need to invest this much amount today. So if Mr. Korim invests this much taka in the savings account today, then he will receive 50,000 taka at the end of every month over the next 30 years. So he can donate. So he has received total 1 crore. That means 10 million taka today. So out of this 10 million or 1 crore taka, he need to invest this much amount in the bank. And the remaining amount he will donate. So he can donate this one minus this one. That means 31,85,825 taka. That means 3,185,825 taka today he can donate to charity organization. Now let us move to next example. XYZ Textile knows that they need to replace their projectile loom machine after 7 years from today. So this textile company, they know that they have to replace a particular machine after 7 years. Estimated price of the machine after 7 years can be 25 lakh taka. That means 2,500,000 taka. That means if they want to, they have estimated that they may need 25 lakh taka. That means 2.5 million taka after 7 years to replace the machine. That means this is the amount they will need after 7 years. So this is the future value they need after 7 years. So this is the amount they need after 7 years. So this is the future value they need. Right. XYZ Textile is planning to save some money at the end of every quarter in an account that provides 6% interest compounded quarterly, so that they can replace the machine after 7 years. That means this company is planning to save some money at the end of every quarter. And like that way, they want to save 7 years, so that after 7 years, they should have this much amount of money in their hand, so that they can replace the machine. How much they should save at the end of every quarter? So the question is asking how much the company should save at the end of every quarter, so that they should have 25 lakh taka or 2.5 million taka after 7 years, so that they can replace the machine. That means they want to get this much amount of money after 7 years. So this is the future value they need after 7 years. And question is asking how much they should save at the end of every quarter. That means what should be the quarterly payment. That means how much they should save at the end of every quarter. That means what should be the quarterly installment or quarterly payment they should save. So here future value of annuity is, that means if we assume that they will save same amount at the end of every quarter, so this is annuity. So this is annuity, and the future value is 2.5 million or 25 lakh taka that we will need after 7 years. Right. So number of quarterly payments, 7 years, and in a year we have total 4 quarters. So in 7 years we have totals 28 quarters. Interest rate is 6% interest compounded quarterly. So interest rate is 6%, but since it is quarterly, we will divide it by 4. We have 4 quarters in a year, so we will divide it by 4. That means 0.06 divided by 4, that is 0.015. So here the future value of the annuity is given. So future value, we will use the future value formula. So future value of annuity formula is C divided by R into 1 plus R to the power T minus 1. So here future value is given is 25 lakh taka or 2.5 million taka divided by is equal to C. C is we don't know. That means how much we need to save at the end of every quarter, that amount is not known. That means C we don't know. R is 0.015, and this is, we know that T is 28 minus 1. So if we do cross multiplication, so this one multiplied by 0.015 is equal to C into this one. So this one multiplied by this one is 37,500, and C into 1.015 to the power 28 minus 1. So C is equal to this one, we will bring in this side, so it will be in the denominator. So if you calculate this one, you get 72,502.69 taka. That means the company need to save 72,502.69 taka at the end of every quarter. So this is they need to save this one at the end of first quarter, they need to save this one at the end of second quarter, they need to save this one at the end of third quarter, and like that way up to total 7 years. So if they save at the end of if they save this amount at the end of every quarter, and like that way up to 7 years, they can get 25 lakh taka. They can get 25 lakh taka at the end of 7 years to replace the machine. right? So now we will see, actually now we will see how we get the perpetuity formula. So derivation of perpetuity formula. So this is for your understanding only, right? So here let's see, we have in period 0, 1, 2, 3, t plus 1, t plus 2, and like that way infinity. So whenever you see infinity, that means perpetuity. So perpetuity, let's see, perpetuity 1 starts from today. So at the end of first year you get C, at the end of second year you get C, you get the end of third year, third period you get C, like that way you get same amount of cash flow till infinite period. So the present value, this is a perpetuity, because since you are getting same amount of cash flow up to infinite period, so perpetuity. So the present value of the perpetuity is C divided by R, that we already know. So present value is, we will get it at period 0. So present value C by R, we get it period 0. So this is present value of perpetuity 1, C by R. Now perpetuity 2. This perpetuity, let's see, we are assuming that this perpetuity will start from period T. So this perpetuity will start from period T, and the first cash flow you will get at the after period 1. That means first cash flow you will get from the next, that means cash flow will start, you will start getting cash flow from the next period, that means from T plus 1. So let's see, the perpetuity 2 is starting from period T, and the cash flow we will get from period 1, that means T plus 1 from T plus 2, like that way same amount of cash flow you will get up to infinite period. So infinite period means perpetuity, but since this perpetuity is starting from period T, so value of this perpetuity, you know that value of present value of perpetuity is C divided by R, but this value of this present value of perpetuity, you don't get this at period 0, because this perpetuity is starting from period T. So value of perpetuity you will get at period T is C divided by R, right? So if you bring this, so C divided by R is the amount of cash flow you are getting at period T. If you bring this one at period 0, so in that case this one multiplied by 1 plus R to the power minus T. So this is the present value of C by R. So this is the present value of perpetuity 2 started from period T. So this is the first cash flow of perpetuity 2. That means this is the same cash flow, same amount of cash flow starting from period T plus 1. So as you know, present value of perpetuity is C by R, but since this perpetuity, this means perpetuity 2, this perpetuity is starting from period T, that means present value will be received at period T, C by R. So if you bring this cash flow, this is C by R is a single cash flow. If you bring this single cash flow at period 0, that means you need to multiply it by 1 plus R to the power, you are getting this cash flow at period T. You are getting this cash flow, C by R amount of cash flow at period T. So if you bring this cash flow in period 0, you have to multiply it by 1 plus R to the power minus T. So this is the present value of perpetuity 1, this is the present value of perpetuity 2 at period 0. So as you know, annuity is same amount of cash flow up to period T. So same amount of cash flow up to period T. So as you can see, perpetuity 1 cash flows are starting from period 1 to infinity. Perpetuity 2 cash flows are starting from period T plus 1 to infinity, and annuity cash flows are starting from period 1 to period T. So if you deduct, if you see perpetuity 1 cash flows of perpetuity 1 are like this, perpetuity 2 cash flows of perpetuity 2 are like this. So if you deduct from this one to this one, only this many amount of cash flows remains. So if you remove these cash flows, from these one, that means these amount of cash flows will be, that means if you remove these cash flows from these cash flows, that means this portion will be removed. So that means only annuity portion will be left. That means only cash flows up to T period will be left. That means only cash flows up to T period. This one and this one cancels out. That means only up to T period of cash flows will be left. That means only these amount of cash flows will be left. Only cash flows up to T period will be left. So which is annuity? So that means annuity is equal to, that means present value of annuity can be, we can get present value of annuity from present value of perpetuity 1, that means C by R, minus present value of perpetuity 2, which is C by R into 1 plus R to the power minus T. So from this formula we can get present value of annuity. Now if you take C by R common, we get 1 minus 1 plus R to the power minus T. So this is the present value of annuity formula. So this derivation is for only understanding purpose only.